to the Old Man Orange podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And we finally kind of come back to a good old retrospect again, right before we hit 350 episodes, like a big old Pokemon game.
Yeah, I can't believe we're at this many. It was like the last one I looked at, like 348. Wait, what? Oh, Jesus.
I know, they catch up quick, and then I don't know what it is, like the farther you kind of get down the line, it's almost like you become like the old man, like, they're just not that big of a deal as they once were. Remember like when we first hit like 100, it was like, oh my god, 100 episodes, like, think of all the possibilities. And then by about like 200, you're like, well, that's still pretty cool, I mean, I'm not gonna complain. Then we got to 300, like, well, yeah, that's still cool, but you know, whatever, just another podcast like any other.
Yeah, that was the thing. And then we'd reach that point where every once in a while we'd try to do something big, and then we just kind of like, let's do the same old thing. And I don't know. It goes back and forth. Maybe in 350, probably not. I don't think we expect anything big on like 350, but maybe 400, maybe something big. Maybe we'll try to reach out to somebody else.
Yeah, something different like that. I don't know, but just more cool just as a milestone just to look at. But we decided it was time to finally get back to doing some retrospects and looking at some good old movies. We still suck in the 90s, though, I will say. Keep saying, like, God damn it, gotta get in the 80s. We just did, like, a ton of 90s movies. But whatever, if there's a way to end a 90s movie segment, this is one that you cannot complain about. It is almost like the perfect way to end a 90s segment for the fact that it's a 1999 movie as well. So it's like right there at the tail end, but I feel it's the movie that really defines the 90s really well, yet it is still a movie that can relate to like almost any generation. Even if you've never even touched a computer before, I still feel like this is a relatable movie. And that movie that we're talking about is the Mike Judge classic, Office Space.
From Mike Judge, creator of Beavis and Butthead and co-creator of King of the Hill, comes a movie about people who go to work. Who are part of a team.
And remember, next Friday is Hawaiian Shirt Day.
Okay, but I could set the building on fire.
Who respect their boss.
We need to talk about your flair.
Well, I have 15 pieces on.
15 is the minimum. Brian, for example, has 37 pieces of flair on today. And a terrific smile.
And need to escape.
I don't like my job, and I don't think I'm gonna go anymore.
One of these days, I just kick this piece of...
I'm thinking now it might be more fun to just get fired. And I've always wondered what that would take.
So, Peter, listen.
Well, it looks like you've been missing quite a bit of work lately.
Well, I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
That's just a straight shooter with upper management written all over him.
We're going to be getting rid of these people here. Mr. Samir, not going to work here anymore anyway.
You haven't been showing up and you get to keep your job.
Actually, I'm being promoted.
Thank you, Bob.
This is a suck.
They're gonna throw you out on the street so that Bill Lumberg's stock will go up.
Ooh.
It's completely unfair. Initech deserves to go down.
We're just the guys to do it. Tell me about that virus you're always talking about. The one that could rip off the company for a bunch of money.
I'm not going to do anything illegal, Peter.
Illegal? Samir, this is America. The worst they're gonna do is they put you in a white-collar minimum security resort for a couple of months. You know they have conjugal visits there?
I might be showing her my O face. Oh.
They let you have sex with women?
They sure do.
Okay, I'll do it.
Office Space.
I know you've been getting pretty depressed about your job and everything, and so I just wanted to tell you, good things can happen in this world. I mean, look at me.
Now, something about this movie is you said that it is kind of like the fact that the movie actually takes place in 1999, not socially, but is kind of is a big deal about the movie. Oh, yeah. Well, it came out in 99, right?
It came out in February 99, but the movie, like, it says it in the movie, it's 1998.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, the fact because it's the big scheme they try to pull off all revolves around Y2K. Now that wasn't like a huge thing about like Y2K is gonna happen, but that was the whole their whole scheme, their whole heist based around the Y2K glitch. And I think that's kind of interesting right there because that's just something like, oh yeah, that was a thing.
Well, that was a big deal for anybody at that time
this,
period.
But this right here, what makes this movie so good, in my opinion, I mean, the writing itself is really good, but it's more just the actors, because I feel like the script itself, it's funny, it's good, but I feel like the actors add so much to it. There's so much that is, like, hinted at through nuances, but never really said aloud, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, it's got that light comedy that kind of just, like... And that was the thing, when Fox originally saw, like, the test screenings out, they're like, dude, what the fuck's wrong with you? This is, like, make it big, make it loud, make it something else. What's with this subtle comedy? And that's the thing, that was, like, that subtle comedy is what makes this movie legendary. You know, this movie's very similar to, like, if you want to have the most ultimate double feature, I think this movie paired with Clerks goes together super well. And they both have similar comedy, both are about kind of like that workforce, kind of break from society kind of style, and though they're very 90s movies, I feel like they can relate to almost anybody.
Well, it's also one of those things, I've never worked an office job before, but regardless, I find this movie very relatable, just the same way I find Clerks very relatable. And they would be perfect double features in that aspect. I like Clerks more, but this movie... because I've worked more similar jobs to like in Clerks. Mm-hmm. But regardless, this movie, it's just the subtleties of it. This is like one of my favorite movies of all time. And it's kind of funny because it's one of those movies I remember seeing and liking. Like, oh yeah, Office Space is a good movie. And then not coming back to it for a while and then not realizing until like years later, like, oh my God, this is like one of my favorite movies. I was, I won't go into too much of it, but I was I was in a long distance relationship for a while. And it was usually I just drive all the way up there. It was in Oregon. But there's one point where it's like, all right, it's a really bad snowstorm. It's probably not the safest thing for me to drive up there. So I'm going to take a train over there instead. So I did. And I had my PSP with me. And here's the thing. Remember, were they UMDs that they're called? I was like, okay, well, I'm about to go on a long train ride over there. I already got a couple of video games with me. I got Darkstalkers Collection, Street Fighter Alpha 3, that God of War game, whatever. And like, well, I might as well grab a couple of movies. I stopped at a GameStop. I looked around. I'm like, The Crow and, Office Space. Why not? And it was one of those things. Watching it on the way up there, I was like, oh my God, I forgot how funny this movie was. Like, as an adult, this movie was so much more funnier. And it just kind of reignited, like, oh my God, this movie, it's like, I didn't realize how, like I said, Judd Apatow, the writing in it is great, but it's more the subtle acting of all the characters. Mike, who did I say?
You said Judd Apatow.
Oh, fuck. I think I heard the Judd. Yeah, Mike Judd. Yeah, I do not want to mix up those two. I like Mike Judge way more than Judd Apatow. Not that Judd Apatow's bad, but I'm just a much bigger fan of Mike Judge. Mike Judge, his writing is great, but it's more of just, and maybe it was even his direction too, but just from big to small characters, so many little like small things that say so much about the characters as the movie goes on.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree there too, and it is one of those movies that, like, I will say it's like in my top 5 probably favorite comedies. It's like that good. It's that kind of movie that you can almost always throw on, and it's always good from start to finish. Every character in it's fantastic. I think just like I like the settings, I like the look of the movie. I know it's like kind of a bland looking movie, I guess, but that's like works in its favor. Because what it does is it also reminds me of like, it's like those kind of areas that you see, there's almost those towns that are literally built around like companies, and like the towns are like so catered just to these people making money to spend money, go back to work, spend money, and go back and forth. What town really comes to mind when I think about this? Now, obviously, these ones are all across the country, but for anybody in kind of like the farthest West Coast region of Middle California, is San Bruno. Have you ever been to San Bruno?
I have. I've been through it.
Yeah. Well, it's like when we lived in San Francisco, Cisco worked at a job in San Bruno, and that place was so the exact same kind of town as like Office Space. There was just these kind of like tech and phone companies there, and then there was just all these expensive places circling around it for these guys to spend money on. It was almost like you go make your money, and then you go, and then you got all these stores that you can buy stuff from. And they had kind of like all the expensive versions. Like, that's where there was a Max Muscle. It wasn't just a GNC. You had the Max Muscle. You had, like, the Lexus car dealer. You know, probably a Tesla one there nowadays. And so on. And they just had restaurants and jewelry stores. It was so set up for people to work and make money and almost at the end of their lifespan not have anything to show for it.
That's kind of what a lot of the Silicon Valley is. And Mike Judge, what the fuck's wrong with me? Mike Judge, he worked in the Silicon Valley for a while. This is almost kind of like, I think of that show, Silicon Valley, kind of like Office Space, the show. I mean, the stakes get a little bigger as it goes on, and it's not the same characters, but it is kind of that very similar dynamic. You have, there's more characters than the three guys, but you do see, okay, Janesh is kind of like Samar. Peter is kind of his last name's Hendricks. I don't remember his first name. And then I forget the other guy's name. The Satanist in Silicon Valley is kind of like a more like headstrong and more of a put together version of Michael Bolton, which it's kind of like, you know, they're different characters. You can kind of see hints of each of those characters kind of in the main three, so it kind of carries on, and even some same sense of humor in that aspect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, like definitely that's kind of like a little continuation there in itself. And yeah, Mike Judge, he had like an engineering job for like 3 months in the Silicon Valley, and he just said it was that kind of work that you have where, you know, he used this example, I think it was on a podcast once, but he's talking about, it's like, you know, there's those kind of jobs you can have, like washing dishes. It's not a great job, but like it's almost like you're not really doing so much that you can sit there and you can think of ideas, like at least while you're doing this job that's not really much, but at least you can still think. He's like, no, this engineering job was to the point where it was a terrible, terrible job, but it almost took so much focus that you couldn't think about anything else when you were doing it because that's how it was. So he's like, it was even worse than being a dishwasher or something like that. And that's sort of where I think that kind of came from for that, because he didn't necessarily work in an office, but he worked in a business that was like operating that same style. And it was he didn't say, I remember what town it was. Maybe he did, but somewhere in the Silicon Valley. I think it was closer to Oakland area. But one of those kind of ones where it was that town that was just situated just with all these corporate businesses circling each other, people making money, people spending money, and going back and forth. I mean, yeah, a lot of like middle West California is just filled with tons of these, I guess call them useless towns, because you look at them, you go, talk about the most boring fucking city you could possibly live in. Like cities that have absolutely no character to them. Like you look at them, you go, shit, thank Christ you were not born and raised here. That's what I think about a lot of those towns. Like, there's a ton of them. You know what I mean? Like, Pleasanton's a big version of it. And I always look at Pleasanton, it's just like, fuck, I'm glad I did not grow up in Pleasanton.
Pleasanton, Dublin, just to clarify, not Ireland, Dublin, California. So, like, a lot of those kind of towns are very much just like you said, just very, or even kind of Stanford, yes. Beyond the campus is a lot like that as well.
Yeah, it's just like, they're just like I don't know, it's like the most boring, like there's nothing unique. They don't have cool like hip mom and pop businesses. They don't have their own culture. They don't have like, there's just nothing there but just a bunch of corporate malls and businesses and car lots, and it's just terrible, really. You just look at it and you go, God, like.
And the movie does a good job of getting that across about what this town is like and how it looks. I mean, it doesn't take place in very many places. I mean, a couple apartments, a couple restaurants, and then Initech. Mm-hmm. But regardless, though, that's all it really needs to show, because it kind of because even their apartments look very dull and boring. But I think
that's what I like. Well, I think it's just because you only really see Peter's apartment, and the whole point about Peter is he's just the guy he's worked a job, and it's almost like somebody who just kind of followed in line, just like, oh, okay, I guess that's what I got to do, and never really. He's not like somebody who had bigger dreams and aspirations. It's just somebody who just got to a point where it's like, well, wait a second, maybe this is not what I wanted to do. It's like he gets that question where it's like, what would you do if you had $1 million? And he's like, and I would do absolutely nothing. Wouldn't do anything.
Well, Peter's a likable character, but he's not. I mean, no offense to Ron Livingston. He's a likable character, but he's not really the best part of the movie. He is literally just kind of like a character. He's really just kind of like an avatar for the audience. Well, say someone like, to make another comparison here, I think someone like Dante from Clerks. Mm-hmm. That's definitely a little bit of Kevin Smith in there, and he is meant to be an everyman. He's meant to be a little bit of an avatar, but he has a lot of his own history, and his own personality, which comes throughout the movie. Where Peter is much more literally a blank slate who doesn't want to do nothing, just one day wakes up, doesn't care. So I think that comes through a lot more. While I think you get more personality from the David Herman character, Michael, and then A.G. Naidoo, who plays Samir.
And I suppose it's like, I don't think this, like, I still think the Peter character works 100% perfect in the way that
Agreed.
he is. Like, I think that's supposed to be exactly how it is. Like, I actually like how you look at his house and it's just, it almost looks like he's staying in a hotel. Like, it does not even look like it's an apartment.
Yeah, he barely has anything up, and
there's just like pictures on the wall, but they just look like, oh, this is just some random one that, you know, they ordered 300 of to fill their building with.
And I'll say this about this movie. We'll get into the plot and all the other things about it as we go on, but I'll say this movie, I have 3 favorite characters in fiction altogether. Those 3 favorite characters are Batman, the man with no name, and Lawrence, Diedrich Bader's character.
Who is also Batman. Lawrence,
yeah, he was Batman and Batman Brave and the Bold.
Like a full circle.
Yeah, because that character... just the way he play, like the way he's written is one thing, which is funny, but the way he plays him adds so much to it. Just that whole thing, like, yo, Peter, man, why don't you come on? Like, he's like, oh, damn it, Lawrence, just come on over. Okay, man, just walks right on over. And it's all the subtle nuances of that character. Like, while he's just like this total kind of like working man, construction guy with kind of like that handlebar mustache that comes down.
That's a handlebar mustache.
What do you call it? The mustache.
Mm-hmm.
That's a handlebar mustache? Okay. All right. That comes down, almost has this mullet. Just like, tell you what I'd do if I had $1 million, man. Like, what would you do? Like, 2 chicks at the same time. That's what I'd do. And then, like, Peter laughs, and then Lawrence just sits there with the most stern face, like, why are you laughing? And he's like, that's what you do if you had $1 million? Yeah, man. Chicks do dig with a guy with some money. Especially, guy, I think if I had $1 million, I could probably hook that up. He's like, that's all you do? Like, well, a couple of chicks you gang up on me? Yeah, I think I can pull that off.
What I like, too, is, like, when he says that, he doesn't even blink. Because he pauses before he even says it, but knows exactly what he's going to say. Says it, just stares there. No blinking whatsoever. You know he's 100% like, telling the truth.
I just love that character because he's just such a blue-collar guy, but knows exactly what he wants in life. And he's not conflicted. He seems happy. He seems chill with whatever comes his way. And he's just funny as fuck, too. There's a part when he just goes to his... It's like this movie does, like I said, a lot of little subtle nuances. For instance, I'll come back to Lawrence just a second. But Michael Bolton, he's this nerdy-ass guy who tries to act all hard. He's always listening to gangster rap, and he tries to put on this persona. But he is a little bit softer than he implies because you see him crack under pressure. And one thing I kind of noticed, maybe I'm just looking too deep into this, when they're at Tchotchke's having coffee, he's talking about how he's not a pussy. Yet the whole time they're having that conversation, he's just constantly pouring more sugar and more sugar and more sugar.
Yeah, he just keeps putting more
coffee.
bags in and so on.
And that whole scene, he doesn't even drink his coffee. He's just pouring sugar in there the whole time. And then, yet you see he's kind of nervous when a black dude walks by in traffic and he sinks down, turns down the music, turns down the hip hop, and then locks the door, stops singing as he walks by, goes back to acting all hard. So they do a good job of just subtle things like that. Well, the part with Lawrence, I noticed when he goes to grab beer, he's already ready. Because Peter grabs a bottle opener. Lawrence already has one in his pocket ready to go. Like, it's just one of the. It's like, I know that a lot of people do that in real life, but just the idea, like, no, I'm good. Like the time they took the time to write that, like, no, man, I'm good. I came prepared. It doesn't make a big deal about it. I think it says a lot about the character.
I noticed that too when watching it. I'm like, that little moment right there really defines that character. And it sounds so strange. Try to explain that to somebody in the outside world, and you're like, the part where he pulls the bottle opener out of his pocket himself, that right there, that symbolizes what that character is all about. Being prepared. Somebody would sit you down and be like,
he's very prepared for the mundane. That's the thing. But he's okay with the mundane.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Because it's like one of those ones, like, Peter's just, like, he's just kind of going through the phase. Really, he has one thing in there that I know that, like, probably as an older person, they looked at, like, not the biggest deal, but he does have an N64 in his room. That's, like, the one thing that gives him somewhat a character.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that. I never saw the N64, but that would make sense for the time.
Yeah, well, it only shows it in, like, one shot. It shows, like, the shot of his TV, I think when they were watching Kung Fu. And he's got the N64 sitting next to it.
I can see Peter being that guy who got an N64 just because he had the money. Played a little bit, maybe played Madden and never went back to it. I could see him being like one of those kind of characters, but I think that fits for the character. And that's not me trying to bring him down. I think Peter is a fine character for this movie because he's meant to be a blank slate, but it works for the film. I noticed Samir works more as kind of like the how do I put this? More of the not I want to say the heart, but more of like the morale center between the two. He's much more of the guy who, and he's also thinks very practical. He's just like, "What'd you do with $1 million?" Well, I would invest it in stocks and then reach out to my cousin who works in finances. All right, you missed the point of the question.
Well, yeah, he's very much like the rational character. He does like the reason, he's the one who has fear. Like the second that like they're like, the thought of prison comes up, he has way more fear than everybody else. Where really, Peter doesn't. It's just like, oh, well, if that's what it is, like, that's what happens. Mm-hmm. He's almost got that. And I mean, I guess this kind of happens because there's technically a moment where he goes to this hypnotherapist, and this is what sets him in between being the guy who kind of just really hates his job to being the guy who's the most carefree guy in the world. Because I got this hypnotherapist guy, and he's just telling me, he's like, and he has this girlfriend that's only in that part. She's in there, and then she has, like, a recorded message. But whatever. She's just supposed to be a dick character. It's supposed to be the whole point. It's like, Peter's just kind of... He goes out on a date, but it's really a worthless date, at the end of the day. He's just dating just a date, falling in line to, like, what this city wants him to be. But at this hypnotherapist, he's just telling me, he's like, could you just, like, knock me out? Just, like, when I go to work, just make it feel like I just came back from fishing all day long or something like that. And, of course, there's this hypnotherapist guy who's, like, massively overweight. So you always just kind of, like, the first time you watch the movie, you're like, something's going on there. I'm just not too sure what they're going to go with, but something's going on. And so he puts Peter into this trance, and then at the last second, he's like, when I count down to 3 or count down to 1, you'll be in a state of pure relaxation. You'll be, as calm as can be. Nothing will bother you anymore until I snap my fingers. And, of course, right there, he has a heart attack and dies. And then Peter's just calm from that point on, almost like that. But I almost feel like that's almost like it just was able to finally release that subconsciously what he always wanted to be.
And with the movie right there, from there, he's just going on like he doesn't care, and things just happen to work out better in his favor when he doesn't care and acts like he's just going through the motions. Which I'll say his whole relationship. I think it's funny whenever they bring up Anne, his girlfriend. He says like, I don't know, man. I think Anne's cheating on me, and his friend's like, yeah, I know what you mean. Like, what does that mean? Oh, nothing. Nothing. We just, nothing. Don't worry about it. And then there's even the part going back to Lawrence, the Diedrich Bader character. He says to him, like, I feel like Anne's cheating on me. He says, yeah, man, I know what you mean. He looks like he dozes off and just, like, in thought for a second. He's like, what do you mean by that? I don't know. It just looks like the kind of girl that would, He kind of gets lost in thought, just kind of like, he just blanks. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm taking my ass. Don't worry about that. Like, oh, he's probably fucked her himself.
Yeah, and that's just what it is. I think it's like those just kind of those workforce towns that produce just bad people lots of times too. Not saying there's not good people in there, but it's just that's what I think Anne's supposed to represent is just this like terrible. She's almost like an item. You know what I mean? She's no different than anything you can buy at one of these corporate stores. That's what she is. It's not a real person. You know what I mean? They're totally phony and fake. They just use money and just want that and so on. That's almost like I feel like why she was just with Peter was just to use him in a sense.
Just to be in a
Obviously,
relationship.
It doesn't go into that much detail, but But yeah, that's what it was, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's what this movie just captures so well. It's these ones like, yeah, you could never have worked in one of these jobs, but everybody's it's like Clerks. You know what I mean? Like I've never worked at like a cash register, like a clerk like that before. But in a convenience store, I guess. But it's one of those ones like you can still just relate to these characters because everybody's been in those kind of jobs that either they didn't like or they had that kind of crappy boss and so on. And it's almost like I feel like the good like morals between both Clerks and Office Space is to be able to say, like, don't ever take your job so serious. Literally, have that Peter or that Randall kind of feeling about job. Like, you show up and you do things, but you just don't care enough. I think that's and some people be like, oh, no, that's the wrong way. It's like, no, there's something to be said about that. Like, just don't care. Like, I've learned in life that lots of times you get Peter results when you just stop caring about things. People start to think of like you as a better employee almost. It's
and
weird.
The movie literally plays on that because there's the Bobs, who are played by John C. McGillney, who was in Platoon. He was also in Scrubs, and he was also like the Jim Rome ripoff from what's the football one by Oliver Stone? Any Given Sunday.
Oh, Any Given Sunday.
And then there's also Paul Wilson, who I know I've seen other stuff, and no movies coming to mind. They're just these two guys that come in, and they're the guys that are just there to lay people off, and they're so kind of condescending, and so it's kind of funny because they're very toned down, but they are incredibly condescending. And they, ironically enough, they really warm up to Peter just because he doesn't give a shit. And he kind of gives an interview that would get most people fired. I'm like, oh, the balls on this kid. We think he more could become a fan. He's like, hey, guys, I just got to go. Like, right in the middle of the interview, he's like, I got to go now. Like, oh, okay, don't worry about it.
And that's the thing, though, is this is what I've kind of learned in life, is that attitude will get you much farther than being the guy who's the super kiss-ass guy. See, everybody assumes you're going to get fired from that. I'm not saying that there might not be the chance you could, but your chances are probably much higher at being much more successful, being carefree, than being somebody who's trying to, like, just own up to something. It's weird how it is, but that's totally how life kind of treats it.
Well, there's also, just kind of going back to that whole scene, because there's another character we haven't talked about. There's Milton by Stephen Root, who's just more of a background character. He's almost more of a
Bail Doutrave.
Yeah, he voiced Bill in King of the Hill.
King of the Hill.
Here's my thing about Milton. He's a fantastic character and he's funny, but for me, he's not as everyone talks about, oh, I love Milton. Like, Milton's a good character, but for me, it's still more Lawrence. But Milton is still kind of like, it's kind of showing how the guy you think's the least important, who's just kind of there and kind of awkward, like, oh man, that guy just fucked shit up at the end.
Exactly. Well, it's like I understand why people like Milton. He's like the mascot character of the movie. You know what I mean? He's like Snoopy to like a Peanuts episode.
He very much is the
That's
Snoopy.
why he is. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, that's what he's there for. And it's like, yeah, his stuff's fantastic, great. You cannot go wrong for whatsoever. But yeah, it is one of those ones, like, I kind of think about the other guys first, and then Milton's kind of like, he's like the bonus prize you get.
Well, it all started because Judd Apatow, God damn, what the fuck's wrong with me? Mike Judge.
Go outside and slap yourself. Hey, hit yourself 3 times.
There we go. All right. Mike Judge actually made a short called Milton, and it's basically just him muttering to himself, and like, one of these days I'll burn this place. Like, I'm taking my stapler, and then like Lumbergh comes in like, hey Milton, yeah, I'm just gonna take the stapler, and he leaves, and it's just him just kind of like distressing, like how he doesn't like his job. It was just a series of shorts, and
well, I like too, because like in that version, like. Because, like, the Lumbergh kind of character, I don't know if that's what he's called in that one, but he has the voice of, like, the hippie teacher from Beavis and Butthead, because it's just Mike Judge doing it.
Yeah, like, hey, Milton, how's it going? I'm just going to take this over here, which Gary Cole is Lumbergh. He's one of those characters, like, what the thing about Lumbergh is he could have just been like, get out of here, you fucking bum. He could have been that, but I could see Lumbergh being very much a real guy. I could very much seeing him being that, because he pulls in when they first pull in, and he has his Porsche, and the license plate is essentially my Porsche, and he kind of gets out, stops, and looks at it. It just looks like the dorkiest guy, but just like this, yeah, like you just like immediately like, oh fuck this dude. And it's all the small. There's one thing I wanted to mention, all the nuances about the movie. Like, there's the part when Peter walks in. Like, when he first walks in, he comes to that door and stops, gives this angry look, like, it's gonna fucking happen. He reaches, he gets zapped by static from the doorknob. Like it happens every day he goes in there. But anyway, from there, like the way Lumberg plays him, just or way Gary Cole plays Lumberg, how he's just like, that would be great. Yeah, that kind of he's not a good guy. He's clearly not a good guy, but he's not like eating puppies and like, you're on the streets, ha ha ha. He's much more of a just very inconsiderate and very kind of aloof, kind of like, yeah, if you can come in on Saturday, that'd be great. You know, that'd just be awesome. And then when he's calm, he's not like threatening him. He's just like, you know, it's not a half day. If you can come in, maybe there's some. And I like that part when he checks his voicemails. He's skipping through like, hey, yeah, hi, yeah, yeah.
Skip.
Because he goes like 5 times. Yeah, hi, yeah, hi, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, all that stuff like that. Well, that's what I mean. It's like he's one of those kind of guys, and I think that's nice that they play it like that. Because yeah, you could have the evil boss character that you would have saw like in a '70s film or something, who's yelling and smoking and drinking and fighting and so on. But instead, to have a guy who's actually very calm, and that's almost like makes it worse. You know, it's a guy who's just like, and it's almost like he's just so calm that he almost doesn't even care about anybody else's. Kind of, he cares about like the work, but he doesn't really care about their, you know, personal life or anything else beyond that. Like, yeah, I don't really care. I want you to come in both Saturday and Sunday, you know, both that.
And not being like, why, is there a problem? Oh, well, that's too, like, that doesn't happen. But, you know, if you ask them, I can't do like, why, what's the problem? Well, some people have got let go lately. Like, you could see he'd be very passive, but then at the same time, there'd be something sinister behind it. But it's not so much he's like this guy who looks forward to ruining someone's life. He just doesn't care if he does. And that's all it is.
Yeah.
And the guys, like an example of another example of that is the Bobs, who I said earlier, that was played by John C. McClelney and then Paul Wilson. Those guys right there, like, when they're interviewing the different guys and they start to interview the Richard Riley character, or Relay character, however you pronounce his last name, and he's just like this nervous wreck who's been working there for 30 years, and it's just, for some reason, he's always thought he's going to get fired, but he's there. He's just like, I'm out of date. They're going to get rid of me. Because I think every job you would see the guy who's been there for a long time, who's just like had it up to here, but at the same time doesn't know where else to go. So he's just like, they're going to get rid of me. Today's the day. I know it. And that whole part, like when they're just saying like, so what would you say you do? Like they're almost just like in like the very condescending manner. Like they says, so it's like, well, I take it down to the engineers, the reports. So you take it down physically. Well, no, my assistant does. It's like, so what would you say? Would you do? Has his hands out, like, come on now, give me something. Some people person. What the hell's wrong? Like whenever he's on screen, that's where things get a little over the top.
Yeah, he's like the one character kind of like
people.
Well, that's how I like he's like, do you think an engineer could talk to people? He's like, no, I got people skills, which is like almost like he doesn't have people skills at all. That's I think just makes that part so funny. It's just like the guy who's supposedly supposed to have people skills is the guy who's flipping out during this thing. Can't even keep cool under pressure.
Yeah, then you have the part where Michael Bolton goes in there. I like how Michael, he has this whole thing where he gets irritated whenever people bring up his last name because of the singer Michael Bolton. And like when the lady's like, is there a Michael Bolton? And he's like, he looks very apprehensive, like, yeah, right here. Like he's almost going to pass it off. Like he's like, here it comes. Like, are you related to that singer guy? No, it's just a funny coincidence. He's like, oh, okay, walks off. And then when he has his interviews with the Bobs, they're just like, because they're just on a layoff rampage. And they get to him, they're just like, any relation to the singer? And he's like, no, it's just a funny coincidence. Just, you know, just same last name. Like, are you a fan of his work? You must love his work. Like, yeah, I love it. I can't get enough of it. Oh, man, like, what's your favorite song? They lean in, like, very intent, like, I just like it all. Like, oh, he's good. Goddamn right he is. Like, okay, like he already has this in the bag. Like, all right, Michael, let's get you going. Like, you know, you can just call me Mike. They just will shoot this glance like, the fuck you say? So the smallest thing, you can just call me Mike. Like, oh, that's how it is. All right. And the way those guys act, they almost act like the same person. One's just older, one's just younger. But I like the part when Bill Lumbergh starts to say against, like, I gotta disagree with you, Bobs. I don't think Peter is upper management quality. And you see John C. McGinley about to freak out, but before he does, like, Paul Wilson just puts his arm out in front of him, like, this has happened before. Like, he doesn't even look at him. He's just looking.
He's like, I'll take care of this.
Puts his arm out. He's not even looking at him. Like, he just knows. He's just like, look, what do you know about TPS reports?
No, it is kind of thing, because Lumbergh just is like the only person who's like, he just seems kind of like he's not always here. He's shows up late, doesn't really get this TPS reports in, and so on. Well, I think also too is this movie, like when it uses the gangster rap music on like almost like the white collar background. Really, it's like I was trying to think before this. I'm like, there wasn't really too many movies because like that's kind of like, I guess you could say that's almost like a cliche now, is they show like really white people with gangster rap music. But when this movie did it, it was kind of like, oh, that's actually really original almost. And the thing too is like it was to the point where like it was so original, Fox didn't even want to have that in there. They're like, whoa, what the fuck are you doing?
The song, I don't know my hip hop that well, but that die motherfucker, die, like that part is one of those iconic scenes of like comedy movies, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of funny when you hear these things that almost did not happen. And you got a point, because all the gangster rap they used in the movie, I think is just very fitting, because you would find, as somebody who grew up in the Silicon Valley in the 90s, you would find a lot of people who work office jobs or a lot of suburban white kids that loved gangster rap.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that exactly, that's like the Limp Bizkit philosophy. Like Limp Bizkit like figured it out. It's like, these white kids love fucking gangster rap, but they also kind of like metal and punk too. I'm gonna try to give it to them all in one package that'll be perfect for the 90s youth.
And I'm gonna always layer it with an incredibly gay sounding name, and that's not me being like discriminative. It's literally hot dog flavored water and chocolate starfish. What the fuck does that sound like? I mean, really, I think it was more of just him doing that on a bet.
Yeah, I think it just was. It's just to be fucking 90s weird, but still, no, like that music though, like it just really fits that movie like so well. Like, and I think it's that kind where it's like, it's almost like at first, if you try to explain that to somebody before that movie was even made, it probably would sound odd. You know what I mean? It'd probably be like, well, I don't know. Are you sure that's going to fit in there? But it's just like when you watch it, I think it almost gives it this sort of like rebel feeling of like breaking free by doing something completely out of the norm, in a sense of like how rap music sort of was at that time period. And just to watch, it's like that, like the damn it feels good to be a gangster when like fucking Peter shows up to work and he's just dressed, he's got like sandals on, he's dressed relaxed, he's not wearing a tie anymore, and he grabs the screw gun out of like the construction worker guys and just goes to his office and just unscrews his cubicle, kicks it down, doesn't even bother picking it up, just kicks it down, so now he's got a window view. And I just love, like, it's just left, like he just did not even care. And just being so confident that like when Lumbergh comes by and just looks down, he doesn't really mention it right off the bat, just looks down, sees that like that's just laying there, and he's like, Peter, did you get those papers in? And Peter's just sitting there, he's like, I don't think I'm gonna get him, and he's just playing Tetris.
Eating potato chips.
Yeah, they're just like sprawled out across the desk. And then I just like too, like once he finally like, he's like, I think I'm just kind of done for the day. He gets up and walks away, and Lumbergh just kind of looks. He's like, oh well, I guess we'll get somebody here to clean this up for you. Like he almost doesn't even know what to do. Like it's just like almost like broke him.
Well, it's one of those things where I'll say, also a fun little thing, our boys at Paint Black podcast, they use Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangster on their show now. So that's a good little opening tune, I feel like. But anyway, so I want to give them a quick shout out. But thing about like doing that with a boss, like the second you, like if you do enough to get by, but you show you're not scared, because, I'm not going to lie, there are points in my job where I had a supervisor or a boss that would always be freaking the fuck out. And the second you were like, okay, yeah, I'll hop right on that. The second you're like, yeah, that's what it is? Oh, really? I did that now? The second you kind of like act like you're not scared and you don't care, that's where it's like, what do I do? There is like this weird thing. I mean, it probably depends. It probably depends on how far you take it. But if you do reach this point where, not going to say you're doing what Peter does, but if you do reach this point where you're not scared and you let them know you're not scared, they back off. It's the weirdest thing.
Well, it's almost like you're back in control because that's what they want. They want fear. You see that like in jobs. You watch other people, they have so much fear for that, like, oh, if I lose this job, I lose everything. And that's how people keep their thumb down on them. Under your thumb, goof. That's how they get you. But once you know that there's like no fear and it's like, you can fire me today. That's okay. I will get another job tomorrow. Like when you kind of have that attitude, they almost back off and are like, oh fuck, it's a man without fear. He's the fucking living daredevil. Like, what can we do to stop him?
Well, plus there's that whole part where, to bring it back to the gangster rap, it's one of the few more slapsticky moments of the movie and actual physical comedy, but it works on every level because it just shows what each one of them does, how each one of them reacts. And when they have the famous smashing the printer scene, because they get fired, and like Peter's like, I stole something. Like, yeah, we all stole something. Like, no, I stole a parting gift for you guys. It's in the back. All of a sudden, it's just this printer that always gave him trouble, just chucked out there. They start playing, die, motherfucker, die, mother. Like, you see, like each one of them, the way they go at it says everything about their character and their relation to this company. And not only that, just that printer. Because Peter just very normally just beats it a couple times with a baseball bat. Samir is full on, like, axe kicking it, stomping on it, drop kicking it, takes a baseball bat once or twice. But Michael, like, he looks like he's kind of enjoying it, Samir. Michael, though, the thing is he's into it more than anyone else. He's not singing, he's not laughing. Like, it's pure fury and pure primal. And he's just like eyes wide, like breathing heavy. And you see the way that he's like Samir or Peter like strikes with a bat, the way you usually would. But way Peter does it, or Michael does it, he grabs the bat and like he's stabbing it. It reaches the point where he's fucking punching it with his raw fist into the fucking ground.
Well, it becomes like it's like a real fight. Like he literally gets drug away and he runs back to get some more hits in. Which I will say, like, what makes that scene...
He's still bear punching.
And what I'll say is that, like, that scene, like, you could, like, some people might say that's, like, slapstick. I don't think that scene's slapstick at all. I think that is 100%, like, a raw emotion scene. Because anybody who's ever dealt with anything electronical or mechanical has gone to that point where you just get that utter rage to smash and destroy something. Now, here's the thing. You mostly don't do it because what goes through your mind is how much it costs and how much time it would take to set up. But if you did have some item like that really didn't have any cost in your area, and it's just like, what can I do with this? Like, let's just destroy it because it's not even ours, it's works. I could totally get that. And like that scene, I think that's that makes that scene stand out so much, is that scene is so relatable. Everybody's had that frustrations with a computer. Everybody's had that frustration. It can be frustrations with a video game system, a television, a car, anything, where you just want to just go primal on it and just beat the ever-living crap out of it and smash it into the ground.
Well, what adds to it, though, I feel like, is just the guy who plays Michael. The fact that he is just with his raw fist and just swinging at it, and he's not smiling, he's not laughing, it's just full on eyes wide, mouth closed, breathing heavy, and then he just starts like, they pull him away, he's grabbing like a cord, like he's grabbing like somebody's like organs that are open, just like ripping at it as he's walking away, like dragging it with him. Like, everything about that scene says so much about all three of them, but Michael Bolton especially. Someone we haven't even mentioned, which I'm surprised about, is the biggest actress from the movie, Jennifer Aniston, how she plays Joanna, the girlfriend.
Which also just goes to show we haven't mentioned really a single female except for the one girlfriend. So,
and
like,
well, this is a very much a guy movie. There's not really a whole lot of ladies in it.
It's like, remember like when they used to have those movies? I haven't seen this for a while, but there was a period where they put like different slips over the movies and they'd have like the bromance section. This movie would definitely be in the bromance section.
Definitely.
But yeah, Jennifer Aniston's in this, that's always the one you always kind of go like, oh yeah, Jennifer Aniston. Like, people like always say that, they're like, oh, I forgot she was in this, because at this time period she was in Friends, but Friends wasn't huge yet. Or maybe it was close to it about this point, but maybe it was, I'll say, because, well, 99, I guess it sort of was. But maybe by the time they were shooting it, she wasn't like, Friends was there, but it takes a show like 5 seasons before it becomes like, starts to become huge. Like in the first couple of seasons of a show, it's almost like they're cult shows, you know what I mean? So as far as I guess even like big acting and so on, this is probably like a normal role for her. It's like, oh, you're in TV, here's a little side role for you here. And she plays the girlfriend character, or the new girlfriend character to Peter that he gets. And she works at, and she almost has like the other kind of version. Like if Peter has like, I hate my job at this tech company, she has like the I hate my job at this restaurant, or this chain restaurant especially. And she's also similar to Peter in the fact that she's almost like a bare minimal person. She just does whatever needs to be done, doesn't go that extra mile, doesn't do anything extra, just enough to kind of get by and just kind of live life. So she's almost like the exact same thing as Peter, just as a female version and working at a restaurant.
And Mike Judge plays the boss, and he says like, well, I guess if you just, because every so often you get that boss where, I think most bosses at that kind of job would understand, like, look, I know it's not a career, it's a job. Just do a good enough job to make the guy working next to you, to make his life easier. He'll make your life easier. Do a good job, and I understand. Just, this isn't a long-term career. I think that's a good boss. But he's one of those bosses where it's like, don't you just want to put 110% into Shoney's? Don't you want to have more flair? Shotskis? Yeah, whatever. Yeah, Shotskis. He's just like, well, you could be like David over here, who's showing real company. You see like that guy, like, hey guys, what's going on? He has just like 1,000 buttons all over himself. Like, God, like even if I see that guy and I understand he's working hard, I'm just like, hey, all right, you can tone it down, dude. You don't gotta. Because I one time went into an In-N-Out burger and there is like, I was wearing like a Star Wars shirt or something. He's just like, hey, Rebel Alliance, right on, man. Yeah, all right, so that'll be one double, and I'm just like, I appreciate the effort, but I didn't say this, but I was almost like, I appreciate the effort, but you're trying too hard, dude. It's In-N-Out. Don't worry about it. I just wanted to tell him that. I'm like, all right, thanks, man. Right on. Yeah, just force be with you. Cool. And then I saw him like turn to someone else, like, that's the wrong order. No, we can't be very, very serious to someone else, like an employee. So it's like, it's that perfect dynamic of like, it's like that guy. These characters are in real life. This is not over exaggerating this movie. These guys are fucking real.
And that's what when I go to a restaurant, I hate when I get those kind of fucking waiters or waitresses. Like, I want somebody who's fucking calm. I don't want somebody who's maybe like mean, but I want somebody who's just like normal. You know what I mean? Like, talk to me like a normal person. Don't give me that fucking like you went back east to like a conference and this is how they told you how to talk to the customer. No. You talk to me like a real person, or you get the fuck back there because I'm not gonna tip you if you come out super fucking excited like that. Like, yeah. I hate, when I could tell that when I could smell that you were fake, I don't like that. I want you to be real. You know what I mean? And I mean, like, not like real, like where you're going to wear your emotions on your sleeve. I don't want that either. I don't want you coming up like, being all bitchy and moany because something else happened. But enough to the point where it's like, you're not doing like, let's put on this fake accent. Let's do everything like that. But that character in the movie, though, is like, that's totally true because there is so many like that. And they almost that's the person they want, like at those chain restaurants.
Mm-hmm. Well, I even like the part where even when that guy's off work, he still acts that same way. He's just like, hey, get a room, you too. This whole like flipping the bird thing. You just hear him laughing off screen. They just look like, I fucking hate that guy.
Exactly. Like that's just who that guy is. He was like destined to be that job.
And there's a whole part where when he goes, when like Peter, like very first thing after the whole like TPS reports thing, the lady walks by. She's like, sounds like someone has the case of the Mondays. Then he goes back to the restaurant. That guy says, sounds like someone has the case of the Mondays, and walks away. And then like Peter just, when he's going back to Lawrence, one of the greatest moments in this movie is when he's going to Lawrence. He says like, hey Lawrence, has anybody ever told you sounds like someone has the case of the Mondays? He's like, no. He has to stop and think about it. Like, no, shit, no, man, no. He leans in like, you get your ass kicked for saying something like that. Like almost says it like threatening, like, are you about to ask me? I'm prepared to kick your ass if you are.
I know, that right there is literally like one of the best parts of the movie. Almost. See, Lawrence, and the thing about you is like Lawrence, he only has like maybe like 3 or 4 real scenes in this movie. Like so little. But it's like his character stands out so much. Just in those little things.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's just what makes him like this iconic character. It's just those kind of reactions that he has. But they're totally, once again, this movie, like, everything about it's like it's relatable, like in a good way. Because that's the thing, is like there's different times and points where you want to have that relatable characters. Like when it comes down to like comedy and it's about like real life and so on, relatable is totally fine. If we're gonna watch a movie where we're in Thor's world and we're not even supposed to be on Earth, I don't want to see fucking relatable characters. You know what I mean? There's like this kind of like balance that you're supposed to have. Or if we're fucking watching Transformers, I don't need a goddamn fucking relatable character, because you know what? I want to relate to a Transformer. That's why I'm here. But in these movies, like that's the thing, is you want to see these type of characters that you could like believe, like that kind of blue collar attitude. Like you see that lots of times. I mean, a lot of blue collar people though are mostly really sadly depressed, but other than that, they're more like Bruce Springsteen songs, not necessarily like Lawrence, because the movie almost ends on this note that like Peter, like once the place burns, well, I guess they steal money. If you've never seen the movie, that's what happens. They steal money doing the Superman 3 thing, where they just take
like the Superman 3. Oh, okay.
Like it's like that sounds kind of familiar. It's like, yeah, they did it in Superman 3, and a couple other hackers also did it in like the 70s too, and got arrested. But their thing is like, hey, everybody's so busy about this Y2K thing that nobody's gonna notice that if we just take a little, like a fraction of a penny off every transaction. Well, in a couple of years we'll have a couple $100,000, and then of course that happens in 24 hours. So it gets jacked up. But at the end, I guess this is all kind of building up to it. Whatever. Peter decides he'll take the blame for it and so on, writes a note, takes the money, gives it back to Lumbergh, puts it on his desk, and then he realizes, oh, basically, I want this back, and he can't reach it again, so he just kind of leaves and goes with it. But, of course, Milton, who's been bullied this whole movie, finally keeps saying, I'm going to burn this place down, I'm going to burn this place down, burn this place down. He finds that money, and then burns the place down and leaves. But when they kind of almost get to the end, like, of course, Samir, Michael Bolton, they just get another tech job. Pretty much probably the exact same thing, just another company, probably same issues, or if not the same issues, something very similar. But instead, Peter decides to join Lawrence and get a job, and it's like they make it seem very, because that's what I was saying about those blue collar jobs. Like I think on paper they always seem kind of cool. It's like, oh yeah, I get to work outside, get some exercise in. That's the good stuff. But they don't always account for, yeah, but what about when it's snowing and it's fucking like 15 degrees out and you're soaking wet now, like that, or vice versa, when it's 110 degrees and you're in the beating hot sun and it's just like the most miserable experience ever. Like I think that's the one part that like. It leaves off on that kind of notion that, like, I could see a lot of white-collar people being like, fuck yeah, I'm going to go get a blue-collar job, only to realize it's going to have its own, like, horrible problems that they did not realize.
There's actually an alternate ending. Two scenes in an alternate ending where, did you ever look into the deleted scenes at all?
No, because I only have, like, I was about to ask you, because I think you have the more special edition. I have, like, the old-school 1999 fucking DVD that doesn't have anything on it.
There's two things. They look like they've been part of the same thing. When Samir and Michael come to visit him at his blue-collar job, this construction job in the middle of the day, they say in a very quick passing line, crazy about Lumbergh. Yeah, I know. Did you go to the funeral? Nah, fuck him. and then they also say, and then there's another line. So the one version, he killed himself, which is kind of funny. And they're both like, fuck him.
Oh, he killed himself? I was almost thinking he got burnt in the building.
I think, well, no, because he's out there. I want to say he's out there with them. Maybe I'm wrong, or maybe he was in the building. But I think that's a possibility too. But I think he was out there like, what the fuck,
Maybe he was. I actually kind of like that. I think that's just kind of funny because it just goes to show that's all that character had, which we know there's so many people in life that's all they have is one thing, and they're literally the one-trick pony.
And then there's another part of the deleted scenes where what happens is you could actually see it kind of beginning to lead into it. It transitions to Milton, who's in vacation in Mexico. It actually, you see a guy walking up to Lawrence and Michael and Peter. In the deleted scene, the guy walks up like, now, if you guys can get that shoveled in there properly, that would just be great. And he pulls up a coffee cup.
See, that's kind of fun. I kind of like that because it goes to show it doesn't really matter what job you have. There's in a sense, at the end of the day, everything's going to kind of have its own problems. Now, some things are definitely better than others, but it is that sort of thing that there's going to be some type of politics, there's going to be some type of weird things that's just going to get you no matter what. Did you lose your audio now?
Yeah, you froze, and I lost the audio for a second, but you're back.
Oh, okay.
You're frozen still, but I can hear you. Anyway, I was gonna say, I feel like it's one of those things. It's more anything he just needed some change. And he even says, like, earlier on in the movie, before when he turns to Anne, because he hears, like, she fucked Lumberg. And even though she hasn't really done anything wrong, he just holds that against, like, you fucked Lumberg. How could you fuck Lumberg? And then finds out, oh, wait, it was a different guy named Lumberg. Not a big deal. And it's one of those things he comes up like, look, I was being an asshole. I'm sorry. I'm probably going to go to jail. But if not, maybe we can start over because I was just being a dick and I was even thinking of something else and I did something worse. And she's like, you just got to be happy with your job. Like, I don't think I'll be happy with my job, but I think if I can just get past my job, if I can just be happy with everything else, then the job will be bearable. And I think that's a good message because it's true. You don't really got to like your job, but just if you can get by on your job well enough. And every so often you reach that point where you're like, fuck this, it's time to get something new. And I think that's what the movie ultimately says. It's like, no matter what you're going to do, you're going to bump into some problems, but it's good to change it up once in a while. So I think with having kind of like the construction version of Lumberg come between them at the very end, may have been kind of like over, like, you know, beating a dead horse by that point. But at the same time, if that did happen, it wouldn't have killed the movie or left a bad point. But at the same time, I just think that I can see him like in 3 years getting tired of the construction job and moving on to something else. Or maybe that just becomes like starting off point, like maybe he becomes like a manager at construction or something. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know there, but it is one of those ones, like, I just feel like that message for somebody who probably never knew, like, what a blue-collar job is like, that's always kind of the thing that you don't think about, like, because I think no matter what, like, a lot of times, not everybody, but, like, a lot of times people that are fucking, like, the guy who's outside fucking shoveling in the sun is looking inside at the guy in there, goes, fucking asshole of his AC and everything like that, and the guy who's fucking inside, like, fucking sitting in his cubicle, drinking his coffee, is looking down at the guy shoveling, going, that looks kind of nice, being outside in the fresh air, getting, you know, some sun. Like, and I think no matter what, it's that kind of grass is always greener on the other side. That's definitely true. Now, 'cause a lot of times I always feel like in life, like, if you like despise your job, kind of like these characters do, you do not want to work there. Like, the people that like just put up with their fucking shitty job just because that's just like why. Like, you live in fucking America. You know what I mean? Like, we don't live in a country where, like, you got to put up with a shitty job because that's the only thing you're going to get. Like, to me, it's like whenever you hear that, you're like, what? I mean, like, there's choices and so on like that. Like, you go out and do something. I mean, like, and I know that's, like, a lot of times it is that, like, you trade one shitty job for another shitty job. But I feel like as long as you find one where, like, the pros outweigh the cons, that's the key thing in life.
And the whole thing with that, regarding what you're saying, what example was it? I was going to say something playing off that right there. Yeah. No, you're talking about the people that are kind of made for certain jobs and not made for other jobs. It kind of comes off the idea of, like, because they never really say what Peter does entirely. He just seems like another guy that works there, while Samir and Michael are both software engineers. Or they're coders. So it's kind of like they've kind of trained for this. Peter just kind of got there. Like, he probably came in with no diploma, maybe an AA, and just probably went through the motions and went through training and just kind of kept on doing that. Well, they trained for it, so they're probably fine and content being at a software company, just one that maybe is better than Initech. And like, yeah, this new place has problems, but, you know, we're there and we expect that. It's part of the job.
Mm-hmm. No, and I think that's kind of like definitely how it was. Yeah, because they never really do say what Peter is exactly. I always feel like he's he's obviously older than Michael Bolton, and I think Samir, you can kind of tell those guys are kind of the younger guys of the movie. Mm-hmm. You know, so I think Peter was one of those ones, like, he probably got that job in like the late 80s, maybe, and it was just a job where he came in and he probably just writes papers. That's probably what he does. That's what I'm assuming it is. I think it's more, he does spreadsheets. It shows that in the movie. You see that there. So I think it's not like he's a programmer or anything.
Documentation, probably.
Yep, he's just putting together stuff like that. So nothing. He's really like a glorified secretary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, it is one of those ones you kind of watch that. It's just like, yeah, there's those kind of things there. It is that thing is switching into something else. But there is that, when you switch into something completely different, there is that kind of like relieving feel of like, well, guess what we don't have to do today?
Yeah.
And that's almost like everything you think of at first is like, it's like almost for Peter, it's almost like, well, guess what? I'm not doing papers. I don't have to hear people. Nobody's saying it's the case of the Mondays, and so on. And just sort of going through that.
Yeah, and I think that's just kind of the point of the movie. Just kind of like, you don't got to be happy with your job, and just try to be happy with something else. And if you got to change it, well, change it. You try to get some change in your life. So, and that's what I think ultimately makes this movie good. It's like, and it's not, there's like maybe 2 or 3 moments where they have big outlandish comedy, but it's mostly just subtle throughout the whole thing. And the older I get, the more I kind of appreciate the more subtle humor. And even the bigger outlandish moments, they're not out of place. They kind of build up to that. So
yeah, well, that's how I feel too. It's like that's why a lot of times I like comedy from drama movies way more than I like comedy in actual comedies, because in dramas it's like you get a better build to it. I like subtle comedy. It's so on just it almost can like relate more, and it's not like you're kind of peer pressured into having a joke like every couple lines or so. I think that a lot of times gets people. It's like if you have to put a joke in every single time. Now it works sometimes. Like I look at Lego Batman, perfect example of a movie that can have a joke like all the time and it still works. But for the most part too, sometimes you can almost get like almost a little bit fatigued in certain comedies, where this movie is just like, by being almost like this dry kind of like light humor, but still being relatable and still being there. Yeah, this is what makes this movie like the legendary film that it is. I mean, as I said, it's right up there with like Clerks being like that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I can't suck this movie's dick enough. So, yeah.
Well, it's funny because I watched this movie, and even though it's like, you might look at the computers and go like, okay, the computers make it kind of look old, but if you disregard that, this movie's still like super like, it feels like timeless almost. It does not feel like dated. I mean, there's a bit of a period piece to it with, the millennia and all that kind of stuff coming on. But for the most part, though, it's just like, it still feels like, yeah, this could just be down the street right now. Or, as I said, that's like Clerks. Clerks is the same way, too. Even though it's 1994 as fuck, it's also, that could be today, too. Just switch a couple things out and boom, there you go.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, I think that every so often there's, like, this movie and Clerks both have, like, Clerks is much more of the, I'm not trying to like bring this movie down by any means. This is definitely probably somewhere in my top 10 favorite movies. Not top 10 comedies, probably like top 10 favorite movies. Is this where this movie is somewhere?
That's weird to say. It's like, it's not in my top 10 favorite comedies, but it's in my top 10 favorite
Oh, no,
movies.
I just mean grand scale. I mean, comedies, yeah, definitely. I mean, talking like, how, I mean, I'm not limited to comedy. Comedy, it's probably like 3 or 4. I'm talking about movies in general. This is.
Oh, okay. Well, you said it backwards.
Yeah,
I thought it sounded weird.
Yeah. This is probably somewhere in my top 10 favorite movies, and it's one of those things where I feel like this is much more the squeaky clean white collar version of I Need a New Job, where Clerks is the punk rock, blue collar, not as blue collar, because it's a registered job. It's not out there doing like it's not out there in the dirt or nothing, but still there is a little bit more of that, I guess, blue collar class kind of people doing that. That's probably what I relate more to is Clerks, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Things like that. I guess another movie that feels kind of similar too, that's also a really good one that maybe we could do one of these days, is Waiting.
Waiting's another example of because that almost feels like it could be a Mike Judge movie, but I mean, that one's a little bit more over the top. It feels like whoever made Waiting, they definitely watched Clerks, and they definitely saw this, and they wanted to make they had a lot of experience at restaurants. Because the thing about Waiting,
well, that's the cool thing about that movie, though. That movie is the ultimate like fucking like blue collar dream movie, because it's just the guy who made it was a guy who just worked at restaurants for like till he was 35 years old, wrote a script, and then was allowed to write and direct the movie and put it out. Mm-hmm. So it's got like a fucking cool story behind it.
Yeah, I mean, I never saw the second one because it was straight to DVD, but I didn't really jump out to me. But maybe I have to see that a bit.
Well, it's one of those ones. If the second one, like I always said this, I didn't see the second one either. I felt kind of bad because I liked the first one so much, and then the second one just kind of came out. I mean, but if the second one was still by the same director, I would see it just because of that.
I heard it's not, but if it's, but I hear it.
See, if it's not, then I don't really care. That's kind of
it might be. I have to double check that. It might be. The thing about plus the second one was also one of those things like we got Louise Gesman back, which he's always great, and then you got a couple other like random characters, but you don't got like all the characters. You got
Ryan Reynolds, and you don't got fucking Justin Long and Dane Cook. And
here's actually one of the things that made me go, oh, really? Justin Long is in it, but he comes in at the very end. And there's a character who's having a self-existential crisis saying, man, I don't know what I'm doing at the end. And Justin Long comes in. He's all like, hey, man, I'm in corporate. I quit, but then I came back. I'm like, I feel like that kind of negates the point at the end of the first one. And I feel like Clerks 2 did a better job of that type of ending. So hearing that before I even saw the movie, I'm like, kind of like put a damper on me from wanting to see it. So maybe I'll get around to it eventually. But just hearing that he came in at the end to say, hey guys, I actually got a job in corporate for this thing. I'm like, why would you want to do that?
Yeah, that seemed like that kind of went against what that character was trying to fight for.
Yeah, so, I'm sorry, I cut you off. The camera froze. My bad.
I have no idea where you cut off at.
Oh, okay. Well, the thing somewhat waiting is maybe we'll do a retrospect on that at some point, but I noticed anybody who's worked at a restaurant, because my parents don't really like movies with like gross out humor and like that much swearing, but since they own a restaurant, there's enough in that movie, not the spitting and food or any of that kind of shit, but there's enough in that movie they relate to, even though it's not a corporate chain. They're just like, oh, fuck, yeah. Oh, I know exactly what they're talking about. Oh, yeah. And they like that movie. That's like a movie. I notice people who don't work in restaurants like, whatever. I don't get it. But if you've worked in a restaurant, at some point, even if you're not the waiter, if you're like the guy in the kitchen, there's something in that movie you're going to get.
Well, yeah, you'll definitely get. I'm actually kind of surprised they sort of like it, because a lot of times people that work in, like, I can see if you're like at a restaurant at the moment, it's almost like, oh, I don't want to see a movie about going to fucking work. Because sometimes, like, that's the weird thing is, like, when you have a movie or a show that's too close to being, like, what your actual job is, it's almost like, no, I'm not going to watch that. It's kind of like when I look at those reality TV shows about pretty much, like, people working reality TV shows. I notice that the people that seem to really like those shows are people that don't work, and the people that do work fucking hate those shows.
I feel like those are a little different. I feel like those are more out of just... I noticed those are just more like bad drama that seems a little false and which isn't really like, oh, really, is this really a problem? Is there really a lot of drama right now, or were you just given kind of like a rough script and asked to improvise the rest of this thing? So that's how I think about a lot of reality TV shows. We're waiting. It's actually funny, and I feel like there actually is some truth to that movie for people who've worked in restaurants. So I can kind of relate to that. But yeah, that's...
Well, no, I definitely think that too. It's totally relatable. It's definitely the one that, like, anybody who's worked in a restaurant, like, it 100% makes sense. I'm not saying that part. I think by far, yeah, it is. But sometimes I just notice that sometimes people, like, when they're still, like, it's almost like one of those ones, like, when you're still working in a restaurant, it's kind of like that thing where it's like, oh, yeah, you kind of get to the point, or any job. I mean, if you were a fucking ice road trucker, you'd be like, fuck watching ice road trucker. That's what I do every goddamn fucking day. Why would I want to see myself work?
Mm-hmm. Or be one of those things like, oh, that's bullshit. This is what really happened. This thing's staged as fuck. I can see it being any number one.
Yeah,
of those
well,
things.
then you get those guys too, where they're like fucking like armchair critics. Like they do that during movies. That's always kind of annoying. Like I know firefighters are always bad about that. They watch a firefighter movie and they'll go like, well, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. I'm like, dude, you're watching a movie that's 30 fucking years old. How? They probably changed the text by this point. Also, let me tell you a little something about character development and script. There's a difference. Like, that's how you make good stories, is this way. Just because it's like wrong in Firefighter Handbook, it's like, yeah, that would make for a stupid story.
Well, it's also unless you're watching like an old ass movie with a firefighter. I mean, there's only one firefighter I can imagine you watching this with, watching it at your house or something. But if you're going to like a movie theater,
well, no, I just heard firefighters talk in general just about movies. Like I don't know, I only use that as an example because I just see a lot of them like that. It's like military guys like that too, where they get all like complainy about like certain aspects of like a movie. It's just like, shut the fuck up and we just watch the movie. I mean, like I get it if it's like something that's like way off, but like one's like, oh, he's holding his gun wrong there. It's like, it's just like, shut the fuck up. Do we need to slap you? Like, Jesus Christ. Like, are you going to go out to the guy who's fucking pouring your soda and tell you that he's pouring it fucking wrong now? Like, why? Because you're the bartender? It's like, I think that's just one of those ones, like, when people get, like, so precise to the point where it's just like, okay, come on.
I feel like if it's based on a true story, like I heard, like, apparently, and we'll bring this back around to Office Space and wrap up in a second, but I heard something like, The Hurt Locker? Like, I've had military friends who say, like, all right, well, here's the thing with the movie. Not that it's a bad movie, but a bomb squad, it's not going to be just, like, one guy and 2 or 3 other guys when dealing with a bomb. That shit is going to be blocked off. So it's not like you're going to be having, like, 2 guys dealing with this shit by themselves in a town where probably most of the people want to fucking kill you. You're going to have a whole squad around you, but that's something they did for more drama. So it's one of those things, I guess.
Exactly.
I can kind of understand frustration with that.
You proved it right there with storytelling.
It's storytelling, but at the same time, it's just kind of like one of those things of like, I don't know. I can kind of see like if when you've actually been there and you know the movie's being praised for all this and that, but they can't get that part down. I can kind of understand a little bit of frustration, or if it's based on a true story and there's some shit like some glaring detail they left out or added just for the sake of the story. Like,
well, that's different.
But it's more of like one of those things where it's like, okay, here's a.
I'm talking about more like the minor details when people get complaining about that. Not like when they change complete true stories around. Yeah, that's fucking weird. But I'm talking about like when they just do the thing like, why does the guy not have his mask on right now? It's so like you can tell which character is fucking which character. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's why that's there. You know, I think those kind of small details I think are always fucking stupid when somebody kind of like says that stuff.
Yeah, like that kind of shit. I totally agree with you on that. When it's something small, like, well, the guy's holding his gun wrong for a second. Like, I could agree, like, okay, let's just pump the brakes just a little bit. But as far as, you know, say some, like, I think that we just kind of gave a little bit of, like, a Marvel-esque teaser for future episode of Waiting, whenever that's going to happen. But as far as Office Space goes, yeah, definitely, if you haven't seen it, check it out.
Yeah, it's definitely like one of those movies, like, out of the comedy list, it should be as high up there as possible if you've never seen it. And if you have seen it and it's just a little, like, trip down memory lane, well, it's perfect time to go back and rewatch it, because it's one of those movies that doesn't really matter how many times you've watched this movie, it's just, like, always good. It's just one of those ones, like, there's, like, this kind of movies that you could just almost throw on at any moment, like, even if you're kind of like, I'm just kind of feeling out of it today. You could throw a movie on like this and be like, you know what, things are pretty good now.
Yeah, it just puts you like this. Clerks always put me in a good mood.
Yeah, it's like I have a list of the like, kind of movies that I can always throw on. They're mostly always comedies too. It's kind of they fit in that kind of thing. Like just those like feel good. They're funny. Everything about them's good. And like other ones I had that list is like Son-in-Law, City Slickers, Captain Ron. I know these movies all take place like in literally the same like couple of year span. So I don't know what that exactly says.
Well, it's like I'll have some really feel-good movies, and then I'll have some really random ones on there. Like I'll have these, and then I'll have like The Departed, In Bruges, like these movies with lots of death and aren't really that happy.
Well, In Bruges is kind of like, I feel like that one definitely works because that's still like, even though it's a hard drama, it also has almost just as much comedy as any of these other movies.
Definitely, yeah. So it's one of those things where like this is up there as far as like somewhere in my top 10, definitely.
Yeah, so it's a really good one, but glad we finally did our retrospect again. It's been a while going back with a good old movie, and we'll figure out something. We got some guests that want to come on and do some retrospects with us and so on, so we'll pick some movies and go from there. And till then, check out oldmanorange.com for comics, podcasts, animations, and more. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan.
We'll see you some other time.
Later, folks.
Thanks again for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Be sure to check out oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, comics, animations, videos, and a whole lot more. You can easily support the show by buying something from one of our Amazon links on the website or in the show's description itself. Doesn't cost you a penny, but every single thing you buy from there just by using that link to take you to Amazon helps us out a bit. You can also really help the show out, though, by spreading the word the good old-fashioned way. And rate and review us on all the sites that you find this podcast. Anything from iTunes to Podbean to Newgrounds, YouTube, you name it, any little bit helps. Give a sub and share it to your friends, family, any jamoke you see out on the street, you let them know about Old Man Orange podcast. And be sure to check out the Old Man Orange comic book Pizza Boys on both Amazon and Comixology. Till then, we'll see you some other time.